Hello, lovelies. Hello, family. This is Kimberly Purpoz, and welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to share another video about the Chickasaw Indians in Alabama. This is a continuation. This is part number 3 on the videos about the Chickasaw Indians in Alabama and Mississippi. And yes, I chose this particular encyclopedia because it's a source or a reference that many young people use in order to do their reports and research on the topics on the American Indians. Unfortunately, a lot of these publications do not include the American Aborigines. So we're going to go through and share some insight as to what happened to the American Aborigines who were among these particular tribes. This particular article is called Chickasaws in Alabama. It's from the Encyclopedia of Alabama, and it was written by Greg O'Hara from the, Greg O'Brien. Sorry about that. From the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. And we left off on the part about the American Revolution. So we're going to scroll down to the American Revolution. And let's see if we can find it. I think we passed it. Here it is right here. And I also wanted to go back and talk about another article that I found about how a lot of the federally recognized tribes are not inclusive of the American Aborigines and make it very difficult for a lot of American Aborigines, aka African Americans, to become a part of the tribe. And that's why a lot of American Aborigines, especially the ones who are descendants of slaves, are now trying to reclassify themselves, or not trying to, are in the process of reclassifying themselves and reconnecting to their indigenous roots. And some people are creating their own tribes that are not federally recognized and are not affiliated to the UN because of some of the historic racism and discrimination and atrocities that have been faced by these particular groups in the past. But let's continue. It says here, the American Revolution, with their ally and longtime trading partner, Great Britain, in control of much of the eastern territory of the Gulf of Mexico and the Mississippi River area after 1763. The Chickasaw experienced a few threats. That agreeable situation ended, however, when the American Revolution erupted in 1776. The Chickasaw tried to remain neutral, but they felt much more committed to the British because of the long history between the two nations. The only battle between the Chickasaws and Americans during the war occurred in 1780, when some Chickasaws briefly attacked George Rogers Clark's Fort Jefferson in western Kentucky. After the war, the Chickasaws quickly established relations with the United States and with Spain, which controlled the entire Gulf Coast from Florida to Texas. And see, this particular article shows how the Indians were split apart. If initially because of the trades and stuff that they were doing, and slavery, of course, they exchanged. Some tribes were not in good terms with each other, and also with the Greys coming in to take over, they made sure they conquered and divided the Indians as much as possible with different lies and treacherous, or lies, I would say stories of and manipulation to trick back them to not be able to want to get along with each other, and having some Indians fight with other European countries like the British against the French. And this is a prime example here in the article, how they some Indians sided with the British while other Indians sided with the French. And so And what they did was they fought among themselves. And since their ulterior motive was to get more slaves, they put the Indians against each other and they fought among each other. And they unknowingly realized that they were hurting themselves when they were dividing themselves and allowing the Europeans to take different tribes as slaves. Because once they did that and they finally realized it was too late, half of the big chunk of the indigenous population was already put into slavery. And then the ones that were successfully involved with the Europeans, some of these European countries, their numbers were so low, they didn't have as much backup. And that's what happens when you betray each other and take sides instead of uniting like they should. So this is a big mistake that the indigenous people made, was dividing each other according to tribes. And then later on they realized, hey, they should have united. And that's when they created like the Seminole tribe in Florida. A lot of tribes, some of the tribes who were from different tribes, since a lot of people were captured and put into slavery, prisoners of war. You got to remember, prisoners of war is another term for slavery, because during that time period, they were pretty much putting people of color, people with Negro features into slavery. And most of the people on this East Coast who had Negro features. And that's, you see in the books how the tribes were trying to get away because they were capturing them and putting them into slavery, perpetual servitude. So, yeah. And that's what it's just talking about, the American Revolution and how it pertains to the indigenous people. Yeah, it wasn't really much of a benefit for us, but it was mostly a benefit for the Greys. The Greys who came over here who wanted to break free from Europe. But it says here, during the 1780s and 1790s, Chickasaws played the United States and Spain off of one another, trading with both countries while refusing to dominate by either. Skillful diplomacy had always been important for the Chickasaws in remaining their sovereignty. But in 1795, under the Treaty of San Lorenzo, also Pekingese, oh my goodness, Pekingese. I gotta look at this, you all. This is another trick word here. Pekingese Treaty. See, that's another way of explaining the people's identity, because I think they were calling the Negroes Pekingese. Pekingese. Okay, and that's another clue who the Indians are. Why would they call it a Pekingese treaty? So I gotta research that, you all. I'm not sure if they're using that, because I could have sworn that they were Pekingese were pertain to the Negroes. Another way of looking between the lines and seeing the truth. So I'm gonna research that treaty, but I think it's strange they use Pekingese, because I could have sworn I read somewhere about how they were calling the Negroes Pekingese. That's another name they was calling the Negroes. More likely in a derogatory term, but I'm gonna research that some more. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to write that down. But it says here, Spain ceded all claims to lands over the 31st parallel. Thus, all Chickasaws lands within the boundaries of the United States. The Mississippi Territory, including present-day Alabama, was formed 3 years later in 1798, and Americans flooded into the lands along the Mississippi River and then along the Natchez Trace, which crossed through the middle of Chickasaw land. By 1809, there was estimated 5,000 American squatters living on Chickasaw land. And so I got to remember American squatters. I got to research that too. See, they using some of the terms that I know Pekingese, I believe they were calling some of the Negroes that. And see, and if you're using that means Treaty of San Lorenzo, you pretty much is talking about the indigenous people. And that's another proof right here that we're indigenous. They're talking about the Negro Indians. So we're going to stop right here with these two paragraphs. This reading right here about the American Revolution. Yeah, I just got to take heed to some of the dates. You see, they're already into the late 1700s, going into the 1800s. So you can tell that they just conquered these lands not too long ago, 1800s. Okay, so this nation is very young. You know, the United States is very small, youthful nation. Is not very old and ancient like other countries and other continents as well. So that's something you have to keep in mind. But let's go on ahead and go into the next article I want to share with y'all. I shared the same article before on this particular guy who is T.W. Shannon, who there's questioning Chickasaw candidate faces questions about tribal connections. They're questioning him and his origins to Chickasaw tribes because him looking more Negro and having American Aborigine facial features. You know, he looks he looks like the African Americans pretty much. And so I told you all I was going to do some more research on T.W. Shannon, and I did. I went straight on over to his website. Here it is right here. And here he is right here. This is his particular website. And I wanted to check to see if he made it to Congress. And I don't think he did. I didn't see it in his bio. I'm not sure when was the last time this bio was updated, but let's read it and see. And we get a chance to learn more about T.W. Shannon. He's a member of the Chickasaw tribe, and he's more than likely, and this is his family right here, and more than likely he's American Aboriginal. He's the original, and that's what the American Aboriginals look like. His complexion is even darker complexion. And this is what is oftentimes excluded out of history book, and why we don't hear much about the Aboriginals being Indians. And the primary reason is because they don't want us to have rights to our land. And even though this government owes us trillions for all the things the atrocities we've been through, such as the stolen lands, stripping us of our identity and putting us into slavery and past slavery, and also modern day slavery, which I say is still going on to this very day. Modern slavery is the prison systems that is going on in order to get free labor out of the indigenous Aborigines. And that's what they're doing today, splitting up our happy homes and families. And this is all by design, and creating these stereotypes and generalizations on our race of people of not being able to have a family and home and having a peaceful family by reaping havoc like the crack epidemic and the prison system that they've done. Its goal was to strip the family of its connection. Slavery was another tactic of stripping us from having a family, a uniting force to bring back our powers back as indigenous Aborigines. And this is something I oftentimes say that, we need to bring the family back. And that's what's missing, the family unit. But anyway, this is the bio of Mr. T.W. Shannon. And here he is. And this is the one that was trying to question his identity, his Aboriginal roots to the tribe, because they want to keep this graywash version of what the indigenous people look like, when in actuality, the tribes are filled with grays, who are the $5 Indians, and also the half-breeds, which is a watered-down version of what the original people actually look like. It says here, one nation under God in the Americas, T.W. Shannon believes we must uphold. He is passionate about the values that propel our nation to the forefront of the global society. T.W. is a young, dynamic leader and then champions faith, family, hard work, and personal responsibility. This module in the hearts of the Republican Party in the heart of T.W. Shannon. Named by the Republican National Committee a rising star, T.W. Shannon was used his voice, and he was calling in the wilderness for the nation to turn back towards the belief of founding fathers. First elected in Oklahoma House of Representatives in 2006 at the age of 28, T.W. began his fight for a limited government. It says, T.W.'s goal was to make Oklahoma a picture of the boss of the conservative values. A proud enrolled member of the Chickasaw Nation, T.W. became Oklahoma's youngest and first African-American speaker. See, they use African-American speaker of Oklahoma House of Representatives on January 8th, 2013. And you see, they use the term African-Americans. That's what everybody need to wake up. We're labeled as African Americans when in actuality we are American Aborigines. And see, he's an example of how he's in the Chickasaw Nation, and we're supposed to have our own tribes, y'all. And if you're a descendant of a slave, you're definitely an American Aborigine. Okay? And they say they brought over all these Africans, but it's already been proven not that many Africans were brought over. Majority of the people here that were captured and put into slavery were the indigenous people. And that's what's failed to be, that's not mentioned in the history books because it's been brainwashed. And that was by design. And it says during the service as speaker, T.W. advocates to break the devastating cycle of government dependency. And it says the best program is good paying job, and having a job, good job, paying job, a man must be willing to work, T.W. says. We cannot become a nation of handout. This mentally becomes the breeding grounds of a communist society. People have never come to this nation for handouts. They come for opportunity, the opportunity to work and build a better future for self and family. This is the American I know. This is America I want for my children and grandchildren, T.W. Shannon. And see, and it goes on here and talk about some of the things he had done, the services he has done, and his accomplishments. And it says down here, it says this man's career began as a Burger King at the age of 16, and he's been working towards the American dream ever since. T.W. earned a Bachelor's of Arts in Communication from Cameron University and holds a Juris Doctorate from, which is a law degree, from Oklahoma City University Law School. He works in the field representative for former Congressman. He's worked as a field representative for Congressman G.C. White and Congressman Tom Cole, fresh out of law school. T.W. serves as the Chief Administrative Officer for the Chickasaw Nation. See? So he was the Chief Administration Officer for Chickasaw Nation, was good. At least they have an American Aborigine in one of these tribes as the true representation of the original people. But it needs to be more. All of us should be having our own tribes. It says overseeing 10,000 plus employees of his tribe, which is one of the most prosperous Native American tribes in the country. Interesting. And it says here T.W. has been married to Devon, his college sweetheart, and they have 2 kids, Audrey Grace and T.W. II. This dynamic conservative leader who campaigns faith, family, country, and hard work is on the move. And this is great. And see, American Aboriginal family. And this is what the tribe is supposed to be made of. That's why it's important that we should recreate and have our own tribes again. But instead of being so divided, we need to have a uniting force. And these are the things that I was talking about in the earlier video. And that's why I was thinking about working towards that effort. and I've been realizing more and more that we need to. It's going to take a uniting force, not just a handful of people. It's going to take a collaborating, working together. It takes unity to do this, and everybody cannot be achieved. It's like it's plenty for everybody to go around. We learn to work as a collective and stop working, this way of working as what the Greys way of thinking as being individual is not something that has been beneficial for us at all. This tactic, the tactic that we need to be following is learning how to work as a collective. And when you work as a collective, you are able to get more things done. But this society has been changed and molded to fit the needs of the Greys and their ideology and principle through indoctrination. We are following the same path of theirs, but it's not a conductive or a good path for us to follow because it has not led us anywhere but to trouble. That's how you get corrupt leaders, get selfish and greed, and everybody's about what they was in for them and what they get out of it, and they don't look at what's the best for the community. They look at what's best for them and how to fill up their pocketbook and their wallets. And see, that's the issue that we have today. And that's something that we definitely need to change if we're going to become more successful as a uniting force. But yes, this is going to be the conclusion of this particular video on the American Aborigines and about the Chickasaw tribe and how it works. And I'm going to go back over here to the encyclopedia. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share that bio. So we got a chance. They didn't mention that he was Congressman T.J.W. Shannon so I'm assuming I'm thinking that he didn't win that election, but he was part of the representatives. He was involved with the House of Representatives, which is a good thing. And it's good to see young people that are actually going out and doing something and trying to make a difference. And that's what I like to see. More of us going out there making a difference and trying to bring about that change. And I like seeing the family and family unit. That's what's missing in the American, where the father is in the household and the mother is there as well. And they together as a family unit. And that's what's stifled us as American Aborigines a lot. And we need that family unit, the unity of family, and no more backstabbing. American Aborigines, nobody talking negative among each other. The male and the female, everybody comes together. It shouldn't be, nobody, arguing and bickering. We're one and the same. Okay, we need each other to produce each other, and so we know we need each other. So all this infighting needs to stop because it's ridiculous. It's a way of putting us, splitting us apart. Okay, it's time for us to stop blaming each other for stupid stuff. When it comes to the man and the woman in relationships, we all know the bigger picture is gray supremacy, and they do that on purpose. This was designed purposely to split us apart to ensure that there is no copper colored families. Okay, if they take the man house out of the house and the home, and if they are constantly leaving the American Aborigine single mom and alone and unprotected, it's hard to have a family unit and give strength to the younger generation and having them have an example of what a family is supposed to be and supposed to tell. But I can go on and on. I want to leave it at that because I think I'm going off into another subject. But this, I just wanted to share this particular video on the Chickasaw, and we talked about the American Revolution and how it took place in history. We then talked about I got a chance to tell you about T.W. Shannon, the Chickasaw American Aboriginal Chickasaw member and leader within the Chickasaws. And you got a chance. I want to share that so that young people can see, and it's for us to see that there is some leadership there in those tribes, and even though you see that it's blatant racism, um, that um, that's where we're supposed to be. That's why it's important that we create our own and reconnect and make it a more solid and unifying force than ever before. And yeah, and then I just tied it back to family and everything, and how a lot of the things that's missing in the American Aboriginal today is the lack of unison with family and having the traditional values system that needs to be put back into place, the family unit. But yes, for the next video, we're going to go into the next session and discuss the probably the land sessions and the treaties and all the stuff that and wars probably that took place too, how lands were taken and ceded to the Europeans, the Greys, and how that took place. And I'll probably go over some more stuff as well as references and other articles that I might come across to share with you all. But please like this video and don't forget to subscribe. And I have my, don't forget to visit the Counseling and Wellness Center, Purpose Counseling and Wellness Center, and the Institute. I have a school. I'm starting to put up classes. I'm also going to be in the process of putting up another school for the American, called Aboriginal Truth, and I'm going to be putting more classes to expand upon what is discussed here on YouTube. I'm in the process of developing that as well and working on some more projects. But please like this video. Don't forget to subscribe. And also, I want to let you all know that I'm going to be putting up some videos on Patreon. I just need more. I need some people to join my Patreon page. I think I need to put up the levels. I haven't really decided on that yet, but I'm going to have those up. And that is going to be used to build. Okay. I need really serious minded people to join the Patreon. So in order to build, because there's some things I'm working on as well. Developing a nonprofit organization and an association. I'm working on that, and I'll share more with people who are showing me that they're really serious and interested in being involved and participating. And I don't want to put it out there on major, in front. I want this to be with people that I know that are really serious about taking action and building and making things right. Because there's some things, a lot of work that needs to be done, y'all. A lot. And those who have emailed me, I'll be reaching out to you. I've been pretty small, but I will definitely shoot you an email. But till next time, peace, family, and be blessed. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say blessed. Erase and move delete. Peace, family, love, and peace. Even better. Bye-bye.